I'm Joey Gallo. You're listening to the Texas Rangers Fanatics podcast with Alex Plink.
What's going on, Rangers Nation? It's Alex Plink with Dallas Sports Fanatic, and this is the Texas Rangers Fanatic podcast episode. Is it episode 26? Yes, it is. Episode 26. Okay, so we're just going to call this the Joey Gallo Double Power Pod episode because there's going to be a lot of Joey Gallo in it. There's been a lot that has happened in the world of Joey Gallo in the past 7 days. Make that actually in the last 3 days, or make that in the past few weeks since June 21st. I mean, Joey Gallo's absolutely tearing it up. But let's there's going to be a lot of AllStar plus with the mock draft upcoming. It's a busy month of July for the Rangers. And let's kind of shift things from what has happened the last few weeks or in the past week. As from the previous episode, the Rangers were getting ready to go on a 6-game road trip to Oakland and Seattle. And one of the things I said was this is going to be a good test for them to kind of see from a developmental standpoint how this team responds after sweeping the Kansas City Royals, because the last time they went out on the road prior to this past road trip, the last time they went out on the road after sweeping an opposition, they had an 0-9 road trip combined for the Angels, Mariners, and Rockies. So they go to Oakland and Seattle. Again, Seattle, we all know that they were 0-13 or 0-12 coming in. But they won 2 of 3 from Oakland. They did lose 2 of 3 from Seattle. First game was very winnable. So 3-3 road trip, probably could have gone 4-2 at least. Still a very positive outlook considering the fact. And then they go home and they lose 2 of 3 to the Detroit Tigers. I will say this. The Detroit Tigers have played very well of late. So losing 2 of 3 to them isn't as bad now as if they lost 2 of 3 2 months ago to the Detroit Tigers. Because the Tigers offense has actually played extremely well. But they will finish out the unofficial first half of the season, because they're already halfway through the season, with a 3-game series against the Oakland Athletics again. And that will conclude the unofficial first half of the season. So let's kind of go piece by piece. One of those things, the first piece, is obviously the draft that's going to start on Sunday. And the question is, who exactly are the Rangers going to be taking in the draft? And looking at some of the mock drafts, it looks like Jack Leiter is the guy. And looking at Baseball America, looking at Fangraph, looking at multiple sources, that Jack Leiter seems to be the guy. And when you look at even the first 5 picks that are projected, you've got shortstop, catcher, center field, and then they're predicting Lawler to go all the way to number 6, the Jesuit prep high school native. So from the Rangers' perspective, do you go with a shortstop? Henry Davis, there's little to no chance that Henry Davis is going to go with the Rangers. Rangers have a lot of catching depth. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised during the July 31st trade deadline that you may be able to sneak one of your 3 top catchers, being Trevino, Heim, and now heck Hicks, into a small little package deal and get something in return. So Henry Davis, there's no way. And really, if you're the Rangers, you have 2 plans. You have a plan A and a plan B. And honestly, Jack Leiter's your guy, unless the Pirates choose Leiter. In which case, it gets a little interesting, because do you go with, now the predicting Marcelo Mayer, shortstop from East Lake, California, as who Pittsburgh's going to get. So do you go that route, or do you go with the Texas kid, Jordan Lawler? Another option, again, outfielder, Colton Cowser from San Houston State. But I think the Rangers, or do you go with Kumar Rocker? I don't know if you go then with Rocker, or do you go with a shortstop? And this is if Leiter's already taken by the Pirates. A lot of folks are projecting that Meyer's going to go to Pittsburgh. But again, really from the Rangers for round one, you just need a plan A and a plan B. And everybody's getting onto them saying, well, who are you guys taking? Well, they're not going to say it. They're, of course, that it's not fully decided, because it's not going to be fully decided until the Pirates make their pick, until the Rangers are on the clock. So as far as drafts go, again, that starts on Sunday the 11th. It looks like a lot of folks are projecting that the Rangers are going to pick Jack Leiter, the kid from Vanderbilt, who is also coincidentally Al Leiter's son. Curious to see how that goes. And it's interesting, if Leiter does get selected, he could wind up in AA pretty quick. But again, you want to take your time with him, especially you're building around a franchise for a lengthy winning period. You don't want to rush this kid. You don't want to rush anyone that you draft out. So even if whoever's selected first round, don't expect them to even step foot in a major league ballpark for a couple of years unless it's for the futures game. Now we shift gears to the All-Star team. Congratulations to Kyle Gibson. Congratulations to Adolis Garcia. And congratulations to Joey Gallo. All recipients as far as the All-Star team goes. Adolis, well, Kyle Gibson, first off, was a given. I think when you lead the American League in ERA, you're going to get selected to the All-Star team. I was a little indifferent between Joey Gallo and Adolis Garcia. I thought maybe one would get chosen over the other, and Adolis has kind of slowed down in the month of June heading into July. And I thought for a moment, like, oh no, is that going to be his undoing? But no, Adolis gets selected. And Joey Gallo, listen, he's having a good season, but it doesn't catch your eye as much as somebody like Adolis Garcia's numbers do. So I thought that he would get overlooked. I'm not saying that Joey Gallo wasn't deserving. Far from it. But again, what's going to happen down the road? And again, this tear that Joey's on, it just started, a couple of weeks ago. So I'm really curious to see if this is sustainable of what Joey's doing. But again, congratulations to Gallo. And news breaking out on Wednesday, July 7th, Gallo is participating in the Home Run Derby. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been asking for this. And to what Joey has said is, you want one. And I know the last time I kind of talked, he was a little indifferent. And I think the concerns that he had were legit concerns, or at least one of the concerns was a legit concern. And I think that's a legit concern for everybody participating. And that's why I think for guys like Shohei Ohtani, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., and then, of course, Joey Gallo's case, that you're only going to see them really once. I don't, and even I think many players now, there are some that are exceptions. Pete Alonso is an exception. I think you try it once, you have that moment, but I think it takes a huge tear unless you're a bit of an older guy on your body. If you keep going multiple home run derbies, I think you try it once. Unless you have a really, really bad round, then I think that's it. Josh Hamilton only did it once. I'm trying to think of guys that seem were very suitable. I believe Nelson Cruz only did it once. I know he did it as a Ranger. I don't know if he did it in another uniform, whether it was Minnesota, Baltimore, or Seattle. But yeah, I think I know Prince Fielder did it a couple of times, unless I'm totally mistaken, as a member of the Brewers and as a member of the Rangers. But I know one thing that the reason prior to, and again, Joey was kind of, when I talked to him, it was around June 21st, which was a couple of weeks before the All-Star team was announced. So he didn't even know if he was going to be on the All-Star team. And so that was in the case of, if I make the All-Star team, I'm going to do this. So prior to July 4th, if it's like, well, wait a second, before July 4th, you were like, you don't want to. Well, you didn't even know you're going to be on the All-Star team. So between the 4th and the 7th, then that's kind of where things started clicking in. And per Gallo today, it's a matter of, hey, I'm still a member of the Texas Rangers. I want to do this as a member of the Texas Rangers. And I want Tony Beasley throwing the baseballs. So everything kind of aligns. And yeah, Monday you will see Joey Gallo participate in the home run derby, unless something absolutely freaky kooky happens. Should be fun. Should be absolutely fun. It is a little disappointing not to see Adolis García. I think a lot of folks did want to see that, as far as Range fans, but I'm telling you, the Gallo Garcia combination, that little big brother, little brother, or I don't know what age difference is between the two of them, but that should be. I'm kind of excited as far as the timeouts go, and kind of the in between stoppage time to see Adolis come out, and then of course Kyle Gibson rooting it on. So that'll be a lot of fun. Joey Gallo also is a career 1-for-1 with homer in his All-Star career. So I'm real excited to see if maybe that will be kept up. Who knows? I mean, it only takes one. I mean, who knows? You're in this kind of tear right now that you might hold into one, and on the All-Star, you did it against Will Smith of the San Francisco Giants in 2019. So we'll get a look whether or not, and I mean, just the numbers that he's been able to put up are just unreal for Joey Gallo. 10 homers in his last 10 games. No Ranger's ever done that before. And just his reaction after being told that, it is just unbelievable. Like, wow. Which begs the question, do you now change your mind about extending him? And honestly, guys, listen. Like, I don't think it changes the approach in putting him out on the market and seeing what you can get. I think either way you do that, but I think your prices may have just gone up a little bit. I think you have to up your ante. And honestly, I don't think any other organization is going to thumb out top prospects and top prospects for Joey Gallo. I don't think that that's going to happen. And I think the Rangers can work that to their advantage. And it's kind of like you have a priceless artifact that's saying, you know what? I'm going to put it on eBay. I'm going to see how much people are willing to pay for it. But at the end of the day, if nobody's willing to pay the price that I want for it, it's still mine. I still have it. And I think that's kind of what the Rangers are doing, is, or at least what I think they should be doing. I don't know if that's the mindset. I mean, according to Gallo, there hasn't been any reach out for any extension talk, and who knows, maybe there's not going to be any talk until August 1st, because they want to weigh in their options. You don't want to set up a seed of let's talk contract extension before the trade deadline, because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how that market is going to turn out. So I think, and it could also be, it's a factor of what's going to happen during the draft. So between now and Sunday, nothing's going to change, and nothing may change between Sunday and the 31st, trade deadline's the 30th, but there's nothing that's going to change between now and the 30th is what I believe. And I will say this, if Joey Gallo is a Ranger that evening of the 30th, he's getting extended. Like there is absolutely they may have the extension already in place, but they haven't offered it, because on the 30th, that evening, you might as well just hand Scott Boras the extension and see what happens. And Gallo has mentioned this to Boras. He wants to stay in this organization. And I would think, listen, I'm not an agent guru like Scott Boras is, but I would think that if my client has vocalized to me that this is the organization I want to be in, that I'm not saying you agree to anything the organization is saying, but I think you kind of, I would say a tiny bit of a hometown discount and say, you know what, normally I would say, yeah, we can ante up a little bit more, but I think we could go a little bit easier because this is what my client wants. I think you can kind of do that. But again, we'll see in the next couple weeks. I don't think anything's going to happen in the next couple weeks. And I think if Gallo gets traded, it will be on the 30th. I don't think it's going to be any day before, because I think the Rangers are going to milk this unless they get the deal they absolutely want, unless they get a Mark Teixeira type like deal, especially with the way he's playing now. Gallo is, especially the way he's playing now and the work that he could do defensively and the patience he has at the plate, because that strike zone recognition is out of this world. There are some guys you cannot teach that to. And to have a power hitter like that, have the strike zone recognition, he's got all the tools. The problem is just there isn't that consistency pulling it all together, I feel like, until this year. And yes, the batting average is never going to be in the 270s, 280s, 290s. And that's going to be one of the knocks on there. But again, you're seeing what has happened since MLB has cracked down on the sticky stuff situation. Who knows what rules are going to be in place in the next few years. My point is that Joey Gallo's value is super high. And if other teams aren't willing to deal their top prospects, he's 27 years old. He's still young enough to where you can build around. And you sit there and say, well, the Rangers aren't going to be competitive for 4 or 5 years. I'm not trying to be too much of an optimist, but you never know. I think guys can turn on their switches in a blink of an eye. Now, do I think that the Rangers are going to be competitive next year? Probably not. All signs point to no. But again, probably not. Not with 100% I cannot say with 100% certainty. You can't say that with any team with 100% certainty. Guys may just have amazing years. The point is that to sit there and say, well, we're not going to be competitive in 4 years. Yeah, that's where the signs points. That doesn't 100% mean that it's true. It was also really nice just kind of chatting it up with a couple of former Rangers over the course of the last few weeks. I don't know if you read the last article put out there regarding Elvis Andrus and Nomar Mazara. Had a chance to kind of talk with Nomar Mazara a little bit and just kind of see how he feels coming back. I felt like, he made an impact on there and within the organization. And I know that things didn't exactly end the best way. I don't want to say like things ended in bad terms. Like, he was disgusted with the organization. But I think with Nomar, it was just a case of the potential that he had that just never could live up to what his rookie season was. And actually, his rookie season went down and down after about really starting in like June of 2016, and it kind of just surfaced to the same. It didn't have terrible years, but for what you thought he could be, just never lived up to that. But it was great talking with Nomar. He still lives in the Dallas area. He's still chatting it up with a couple guys from 2019, and he had this to say about wanting to see Joey Gallo in the home run derby.
Yeah, man. I played with him since 2012, and I was able to enjoy all those launch shot that he was able to do. I mean, he put them. It's not even right field. He just go every part of the field. So if he do it, it's gonna be awesome to watching hit those nukes out there. So if he do it, great. If he not, like it's up to him though. So
the big chill. I mean, Nomar is always just so calm. He never shows. Well, let me say this: is that when I say never shows emotion, I never really seen him show negative emotion. And sometimes people may look at that as a bad thing in itself, because sometimes emotion, when you don't show it, kind of rubs off the wrong way of, are you so much emotionally invested? And you can be emotionally invested and not show outside emotion. It's possible. I know that, there are a lot of people that do that. You look at some of these, you look at, police officers, you look at medical workers, where they don't show that kind of emotion when they're in a heavy duty scenario. So it was nice to see Nomar. It was nice to talk to Mazara. And of course, always reigning in as Globe Life Park across the way, with the longest homer in ballpark history that will stand in that ballpark. So cemented himself at Globe Life Park history, unless something absolutely insane happens and the Rangers have to play another game across the way, but that will never happen. Well, who knows? Maybe, I don't know. With the way, with how 2020 went, I think we can all check that anything is possible. So, with the Rangers' unofficial first half upcoming, I think this is the kind of point where people were thinking this organization was going to go. But I will say this, is that I think you're seeing a lot of that growth and development amongst these players. And while the record doesn't look good, and trust me, the record doesn't look good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think what you're seeing is a team that doesn't really, they don't give up. And I think that speaks a lot into the organization. I think it speaks a lot to the players. You see them play hard when you're down 7-0, crawl into 7-3, make it maybe 7-5, 7-6, and fall just short. I think the falling short part is just, I think that's kind of a learning experience. And I think it's to the point on the pitching side where if you can limit the damage, instead of heading into the 7th inning down 7-0, and you head into the 7th inning down 4-0, you can complete the comeback and take the victory. Those are the types of games that postseason teams win. And that separates from a team that is 6 games over 500 to teams that are 20 games under 500. Those types of games. But I think there are definitely holes in this team. There's no question about that. You're looking at the lineup, and your 5 and 6 hitters are both essentially catchers on Wednesday, July 7th game against Detroit. Now, to be fair, John Hicks has hit 4 homers in his 4 games appeared. And the only game that he didn't homer was a game that he was inserted as a defensive replacement in I believe it was in the 10th inning, where he didn't even get an at bat. So he had entered in Wednesday's game against Detroit, homering in every single game he had started. And then, of course, he didn't homer on Wednesday's game against Detroit. But now you're talking about 3 of the 4 games he started, he has homered. You almost rarely can't beat a tear like that unless you're Joey Gallo. So the Rangers have, Jonah Heim has been swinging the bat really well. The problem is you get some of those guys like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Nick Solak has been swinging a little better, where they're not quite in a groove. Eli White is struggling after being recalled up and having a really good beginning to middle of the month of June, and now has kind of scuffled the last few weeks. And some of it is fatigue. Some of it is just going through things that you just have to, as a young player, you just have to keep on striding. So what will the Rangers then do with some of their veteran guys? And I'm not talking Joey Gallo. I'm not talking about Kyle Gibson. Of course, those are the 2 most coveted type players. But what about those small deals? Kind of like the Todd Frazier one last year that the Rangers traded Frazier to the Mets. Robinson Chirinos went to the Mets. Do you deal Charlie Culberson? Do you deal Brock Holt? Do you deal Ian Kennedy? Ian Kennedy, to me, doesn't seem like a little small deal. He's played pretty well in reference to closing games. It's a good bullpen guy. So I think, again, I don't think anybody's off limits in that respect. I think everybody has some sort of, value to them when it comes to having a veteran guy. And I think the Rangers, listen, again, they're not going to be competing for a postseason spot this year. So if you have different asks for both Charlie Culberson and Brock Holt, I think you pull that trigger, and then get Andy Ibanez to play third base. Because again, you're looking as far as the future goes. Josh Jung's still in AA, so I don't know if he's ready for AAA, and you don't want to push him all the way from AA to the majors. Obviously, he's hurt right now, but you know what I mean. I think you still have to go through that progression, especially if he's the type of guy that you're looking for your future. So it'll be interesting in 3 weeks with the trade deadline, see what the Rangers decide to do. But yeah, All-Star Game. I think this is one of the more exciting All-Star games for Ranger fans. Granted, nobody's starting. Well, Kyle Gibson may start, but as far as position players go, both Adolis and Joey will be reserves. And again, this is all in good fun. There's no home field advantage decided. I don't know how I exactly feel about that. But we go ahead and wrap this Joey Gallo favored type episode with a little Ranger 7. And who better on this episode 26, the Joey Gallo double power episode, than Mr. Gallo himself. This was actually done a couple of days ago before he was announced he was going to be in the home run derby. But guys, I'm going to be honest, this is one of the more fun Ranger 7s that I've done. Just talking about stuff. And if you haven't, Joey Gallo is a really fun guy to talk with, to kind of be around. So enjoy this Ranger 7 with Joey Gallo.
I'm here for
yeah, appreciate it.
So I'm here with Rangers 7 with Rangers outfielder and 2-time All-Star, which rolls off the tongue pretty nicely, Joey Gallo. Yeah. So Joey, with Rangers 7, I'm just going to ask 7 random questions. Okay. First one, what is the weirdest baseball ritual you've ever witnessed?
It probably happened this year. Nate Lowe I have a picture of it actually. He was in a slump. I think we were in Tampa, and he kept his bats on the training table with all the training, I guess you can say, equipment onto it, the stem on it. There was ice there, everything, and overnight, so to revive his bats and to get him going. So I thought that was hilarious. I remember sending that snap to my friends and being like, "This is what baseball will do to you. You'll go to any length to get hits." So I thought that was really funny. It was like it was. I mean, there was ice on there. I'm pretty sure they took it off at the end of the night, but it was more of like, you know, you have a stem on there. They have the laser, so he connected everything. He wrapped it up like it was hurt, pretty much. You know, pretending that the bats aren't producing. They're hurt. We gotta try to get these back to full health. So I thought that was really funny.
Is that something you're gonna try in the future if you're in the slump?
I mean, yeah, it actually worked. I remember the next day he hit a home run, and you'll do about anything. I've slept with a bat before. You know, I'll go to any length it takes to have success on a baseball field.
What is an unpopular food opinion that you have?
Wow. Okay, an unpopular one. I don't like steak with the bone in it. That's not
unpopular.
Really? Yeah.
Well,
See,
it may be. All I'm saying is that
I like fillets. You know, like so for me, like, they're always like, "Hey man, they got this, you know, Tbone Steak or whatever." I'm like, I don't really want to work around a bone. I just give me the.
Too much work too, because you gotta take the knife.
I mean, I just want to get a steak where I can eat it, and that's it. But I'm not like a bone-in guy with much meat, to be honest with you.
So you're like a well done type.
Yeah, I'm like a medium well now. I used to get well done. I graduated and went down a little bit. People used to give me so much.
Give you so much crap.
Oh man, I used to order well done at steakhouses, and the waiter would look at me like, "Are you serious, dude? Like, why are you even here?" And so that's when I started to figure, okay, maybe I can drop it down a little bit.
What is so you're Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom, I assume, your Italian mom has some good dishes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish?
Yeah, I mean, her best dish, hands down, is the spaghetti and meatballs. She has a family recipe for the meatballs that she actually doesn't share. Like, people will ask her for it, and like, she very ever rarely shares this recipe. I don't know it either. But she's always told me if anything happened to her, she has this recipe stacked away in a certain place that she'll give it to me just in case, because she knows how much I like them. So like, she's very serious about her meatballs, and they're unbelievable. I mean, the best meatballs I've ever had. So every time she comes in town, every time I go into Vegas or go into town, she always makes meatballs for me.
I may need to taste test on there, or maybe have you taste test.
Yeah. I need to actually have her make a bunch and bring them in and see what people think. But I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about them yet.
Well, no, I probably would say, since it's homemade, I wouldn't say anything negative.
yeah. I'm sure they're not gonna say it to our face anyways.
I'm tattered towards those a little bit more, so
yeah,
you may have to.
Yeah, it's a home taste too. You grow up eating that, so it's probably, I might like it more than other people,
right.
But it's I don't know. A lot of people do like it, so that's definitely her best dish.
What's a song on your playlist that people would I don't want to say, but kind of give you a little bit of a rise eye that you have? You wouldn't expect.
I guess.
Joey's looking through his playlist.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of like run it randomly a lot now, because in Spotify you can just do like daily mix, and it just like gives you a whole new set of songs. I kind of been into like the acoustic stuff lately, like, you know, like popular songs that get sung but acoustically, and it's like more of a chill vibe and stuff like that. I kind of been into that. But you know, I mean, I guess Miley Cyrus, she pops off every once in a while too. She's pretty good. So there's some songs like that I don't mind listening to.
Joey, you're not so much younger than I am, so I have to ask you, as growing up, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, I guess I gotta go.
Were you a part of that?
I was a little bit. I was still a little young, but it was still big. I think I'm just more Backstreet Boys for me. I think when I think of the two, that one just goes to my top of my head instead. But they're both obviously, can't go wrong with either one, I don't think.
Or you have those 98 Degrees people.
I don't even 98 degrees. What was that?
That was around. You don't know what 98 degrees is?
No, I have to
That's
Google. I'm
okay.
sure I've heard a song. I just didn't realize what.
I don't know how much politics, but like that's like the Ralph Nader.
Okay.
The third party.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to look some of that up. I'm sure I've heard it.
Is?
Yeah. Yes.
Nick
He was
okay.
He was in that. All right.
With his brother.
Okay.
I forgot what his brother's first name was.
I didn't know that. I did not know that, but I know who that is. So that makes sense. That why people know him, I guess. Then.
That's why not a lot of people were on that side.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know. As far as gaming goes, who, and you can include yourself on this, who would be the best, not just who's the best gamer, but who would be able to teach sort of a newbie? I don't really call myself a newbie because I've dabbled a little bit in the past, not lately, but like who could teach me to be at their level?
So Willie is a very good gamer. I don't think would be a good teacher because I've played with him. He doesn't really want to explain anything. He just kind of wants to do his thing, and you can figure it out while you play type. I would say Goozy. I think Goozy's me or Goozy. I would say Goozy just because Goozy is like so passionate and like caring that he wants everyone to do good. So I played with him, and we were playing with we've actually played with fans before. I mean, back in the day when we were playing Fortnite, and he would be helping the fans, the little kid playing and stuff. So I think Goozy would probably be the best bet on that.
Number 6, as far as growing up goes, what was your go-to game?
Oh man, we played. I played Ken Griffey Jr. baseball. I dominated at that.
On the Super Nintendo?
Nintendo 64. So I remember playing the Nintendo 64. I had the PlayStation 1, a GameCube. We played Super Smash Bros. All the time.
Classic.
Fox, Starship. I don't know if you remember all that, but that was.
I'm older than you, Joe.
Yeah, but I mean, not everybody played it, so I don't know. But yeah, that was the 3 games I played. I played a lot of baseball games. I was obsessed with baseball. So I mean, I know every previous baseball player before me. So just because I played the game so much.
The only one about, I think it's I said RBI baseball.
Yeah,
where,
RBI.
You can hit guys and get into fights with.
Yeah, that was the Slugfest. Yeah. That Slugfest. You hit a guy, he gets on fire and they goes fights. And that was fun, man. We used to play that on road trips in the back of the car while our parents were driving. It was so fun. I wish they'd come out with that game again, new version, with the graphics now. It'd be unbelievable.
Remake all of those games.
I know. I'm sure it's not that easy, so it's gotta give them a little slack. But come on, I mean, we gotta figure that out.
And then Joe, so I'm going clubbing. This is hypothetical. I'm going clubbing, and I need a wingman. Which out of your teammates would you recommend?
I mean, I feel like I'd be a decent
So just
role.
so you know, so far I've asked, you're the most popular vote.
I guess that's a compliment. I think that's good.
Now I didn't ask. Now I know you're not a miracle worker. But
yeah, no, I think I'd be pretty good. Honestly, look, I mean, I keep saying Goozy for things, but Goozy, he's a big, tall Latin dude who wears a bunch of chains and a lot of expensive clothes. So when he walks in, people always look like that guy's got to be somebody. And he's funny and charismatic too. So Goozy wouldn't be a bad. I've went to bars with him before, and it's he's good to go out with. He's fun. He's a lot of fun.
Joey, appreciate the time,
all right,
man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For Goozy, yeah, Goozy. It was great talking with Goozy too the other day, and things are going well. He's targeting September to return, and he's actually for the past few days, and this was talking back on Monday, July 5th, hadn't needed his crutches for a couple of days. So that's good to see. He's progressing well. Again, aiming for September. I don't know if he'll actually play in a Ranger uniform this year. I wouldn't count on it. But if he gets the green light, you would do the Arizona League in the offseason, right after the season, or Winter League. Could see Ronald Guzmán again. Rangers have a decision to make with Goozy. Do they want to bring him back? And I think that's The question that the organization also has to ask, I know that with the trade to date low, then you run into the same scenario. And actually, now that, you don't even have that option that you have with Guzzi, it'll be interesting to see if the Rangers do want to extend it with Ronald Guzmán. Hey, listen, if you want more Rangers coverage, you can go to DallasSportsFanatic.com/Texas-Rangers. You can follow me on Twitter at APlinkTX, Instagram at APlinkTEX. I'll be at the ballpark for the weekends against the Oakland Athletics. Looking for more stories going along. I've got a few up my sleeve. And if you like this podcast and want to check out others, I've got them all uploaded on YouTube. You can go to Anchor. You can go to wherever you get your podcasts, at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Again, guys, All-Star break's coming up. Draft is coming up. Rangers futures. I want to say like Rangers futures. Speaking of futures, it's a future palooza going as far as the Rangers futures game. I'm really, really excited to see going in the futures game. But folks, you guys rest up for the All-Star break, because the Rangers then, after the All-Star break, heading out on the road. They'll be heading to Detroit. They'll be first heading to Buffalo, not Toronto, Buffalo. And then we'll be heading on over to Detroit. I keep getting that mixed up. I don't know why, but it is officially, they will be going to Buffalo and then Detroit. So everybody stay safe out there. Stay cool. The summer heat hasn't quite hit yet, but trust me, guys, the summer heat will be upcoming, and then we will all be thanking ourselves knowing that the Rangers play in a ballpark with AC and the whole reason why it even exists. Thank you guys for listening.